Garden Report is brought to you by Prize Picks and the Game Time app.
Guys, let's get into the game. We could get right into Jaden Springer if that's what you like the best, because that really turned the tide of the game. It's a weird one, right? The Clippers are sitting 4 starters. The Celtics are sitting 3 of their top 6 rotation players. So you basically got 4 of the top 11 players on the 2 teams playing tonight, which was just a weird game to begin with. And it just had trap written all over it, right? Like, oh boy, here they go, play down to the level of the competition. They come out smoking. Offense looks good. Ball movement is good. Sam Hauser's hitting threes. Baylor freaking Shireman's getting first quarter minutes. Crazy things happening. Jaylen Brown, after not complaining, gets his first quarter minutes again, so he can set the tone. And things looked okay, and then it kind of fell off, and they were stuck in a weird rut for a couple of quarters, and then enter Jaden Springer, who completely turned the tide of the game, which is something I don't think any of us had on our bingo card. No, I don't think we ever had your mic. Sorry, I thought you were on mute before. Yeah, go ahead, Bobby. No,
it's kind of crazy because that was the Springer substitution, John, was the real divergent point in this game. The Clippers were floating around 60% shooting for a lot of the game. And then they went like 7 for 20 something the rest of the way. I got the number here exactly. 5 for, what are we talking about here? It's something ridiculous. They forced 9 turnovers. It was like 5 for 21 shooting after that point until the late couple baskets that tied it off turnovers. And he's just playing with this confidence, and he missed a couple shots right away, but he just shocked me, John, because we've seen him so many times him come into games and just look like he doesn't belong. And then he comes into this game, and he's basically getting a steal on every possession. He's coming down hitting shots the other way. I couldn't believe it. And the way it swung the game was even more stunning. And I know you're going against some bench guys on the other side and guys who are probably a little more vulnerable to giving the ball up like that. But I tweeted it, and I truly believe it. This game changed his career because he's probably out of here in one way or another. And who knows where he ends up and if they even use him.
4 minutes
now
and
you look
32
at this performance,
seconds in,
John.
Bobby took something that he made it ridiculous.
Can you guys hear me now?
No, it's real. Because
I don't know if he changed his career. But
don't you look, John, longer at keeping him now? Because you're probably doing everything you can to get him out the door and fill those spots before this.
No small sample sizes. I don't. Let's not spoil this. Let's enjoy it for what it is, okay? It's one night. We don't know what's going to happen beyond this, but it was important. And Joe, I'll let Noah take it from here. Joe made a great adjustment in this game, rolling the dice on a guy that he hasn't really used at all, because I think he recognized that, and he said it after the game, they were getting too comfortable, and you could see that. And I think the point of attack defense wasn't great, certainly to start the night. I don't think it's been great all year from this team. I think they are letting people get too comfortable and get into their sets and do what they want to do. And Springer erased that almost immediately by just getting up in people's, causing steals. He had 3 in a really short span of time. So he really did flip the game, and that energy kind of kept through the entire fourth quarter, which he played. I'm not sure exactly how much, but I think he played like 9 minutes of the fourth quarter. But Noah's been dying to get a word in on the Jaden Springer conversation. So go.
I have been dying because I think this is honestly what makes the NBA great. I know a lot of people are like, why would you care about a random January game with a team that's missing all the key players? And this is what makes it awesome, because a guy like Jaden Springer has not played in pretty much since he got to Boston. He has not really played meaningful minutes. He's gotten a couple of very limited opportunities. And we see him work every single game, every single day, practicing his three-pointers, doing the drills with player development, and you don't know if you're ever going to get a chance to show it on this team. And I didn't think it was going to be tonight. He sure as hell couldn't have known it was going to be tonight, because nothing about tonight's situation was that unique, considering there's been other games.
And Joe never tells anybody.
Right. Yeah. And that's part of the whole thing, right? He's not going to know. It's not going to be predetermined, but he comes into the game in that second half. And I don't know that I've ever seen somebody impact the game defensively so like overtly, like 4 steals in that second half, a couple other steals or plays that aren't going to show up as steals in the box score, but he forced an out of bounds play, a turnover, a travel. So it's like, it's just awesome to see. And I know a lot of things went wrong in this game. And I do think that playing teams that are missing their entire rotation is uniquely challenging in the NBA. It's like, we were joking about it before the game. We knew this game was going to go terribly for the Celtics as soon as we saw the injury report. But the fact that somebody like him is going to be able to impact the game, I really do think that he has a future in the NBA. I know he has his limitations, but we saw him in Summer League. We've seen him. He was the finals MVP in the G League, so he can score at lower levels. The question is, how does it translate? But clearly he has a gift, and that gift is worth giving him a chance. That's why he keeps getting chances in the NBA. And I hope that this translates into something a little bit more substantial for him, whether it's here or elsewhere, because it's really inspiring to watch. You don't see a lot of guys that have that skill set.
That's my point,
that's
John.
the thing.
Not that he's going to become a staple here, but you probably keep him now that you saw something. And if he goes elsewhere after this, he's probably just salary dumped. They probably don't use him either. And who knows? He's out of the league at that point, possibly. You saw that you can use him for something here, John. That's all I'm saying. It's not very. It's not something. I'm not saying he's about to become their sixth man. I'm saying he's probably going to stay here because he can do something for you.
I know you're going to make me say negative things, and I don't want to. What I'm saying is, I think Joe Mazzulla knows full well that Jaden Springer can do this. It's just whatever other limitations he has, or his inability really to score at this level, or to be any factor at all on offense, limits how much you can play him in a game. If you've got your full lineup in here, you're still probably not using him, because you'll just play Holiday and White and just, ask him to amp it up a little. Not going to be the minutes there, especially with Pritchard playing as much as he's playing in that backcourt. But tonight it was what else are we going to do? We got to try something. So you really needed to be down several guys to get that deep down the bench to give him an opportunity, and he made the most of it. In terms of whether he can translate to anything else down the road, I don't know, but it's a nice tool to have in the shed. If you say, like, all right, I just need somebody to go in there, mix it up, and give me a little defensive energy, maybe he can get a spurt or two later on. I just don't know that it can translate to anything beyond tonight, and I wouldn't necessarily get our hopes up. But perhaps somebody else sees this, and we know how this went, and the chat's already on this right now, is Springer was supposedly the guy you were thinking about moving. Does this open the eyes? Does the one performance open some people's eyes and maybe make him more tradable or something?
See, that's
possibly.
That's where I'm pumping the brakes. I don't think this is fooling anyone into him being anything from.
Well, then I don't think it's going to fool Joe Mazzulla, who sees him every day. That's all I'm saying. Is I think they know what they have in him.
Again,
yeah.
I think he turned from a guy that you're trying like hell to get rid of, as the reporting went before the season, to a guy that you're like, all right, he's 22. Let's keep him around. You probably keep him on a minimum after this year.
I don't think that's it, Bobby. I think you've got two guards who are like elite defensively already. So Springer doesn't have much of a role here, especially when your third guard coming in off the bench is an offensive-minded player. Where you needed help was potentially at the wing spot. So it wasn't that they were trying like hell to get off of Springer. I think when Brad brought him in here, he liked a lot of the stuff that he could potentially bring.
Right.
And he was young, and he was, and he was raw, and he hadn't really gotten a chance. So he showed some of it tonight. But I'll ask you, Noah, like, can this translate to more? Is there a role on a fully healthy Celtics team? Is there a role for him going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, like, I understand that obviously we haven't seen him play all year, and there's reasons for that. So he could have gone for 30 tonight, and it shouldn't make us think, oh my God, this is the next great thing, because It's just one game, right? I always want to keep everything in perspective. That being said, for what it was, and I know we know that he has a defensive skill set. That's what he's known for. It's why he's in the NBA. It was more impressive than I would have even expected, because it's one thing to be known as a ball hawk. It's another thing to come into a game where the defense has been pretty abysmal and to force 6 turnovers in 8 minutes. That's pretty insane. Like, it's really like, it's like we watched a guy hit 10 threes or more. Like I know everybody's saying like, oh, he had 8 points, whatever. It wasn't about that. It's really rare to actually be able to take a guy who has the hot hand and completely force him out of rhythm. And he talked about it post-game about how all of a sudden they weren't calling plays for Kevin Porter Jr., right? So I'll keep it as what it is. It was a masterful defensive performance, which should get the come if the guy had come off the bench and scored 40 tonight. Seriously, I really do think that it's the same level of impressive. It's still 40? Just one game. Would I love to see him? Sure, why not? If we're going to value forcing that many. Yes. Yeah, I was running a lot of victory. I was name searching Jaden Springer on my Twitter hard tonight. My point though is I would love to see him get multiple opportunities against guys that are actually getting real substantial minutes in the NBA, because right before he got to Boston, he had a game where he shut down Luka, and he had a great game against Steph Curry. And those were the few games that preceded the trade to from Philadelphia, and everybody was super excited about him. So I want to see him get more of an opportunity, just because he's been sitting there, he's been working hard, and why not? You can afford to give him a chance. And tonight they gave him a chance and it paid off. And I think that if you gave him multiple chances, you might be surprised.
Well, I'm all for it. I have no agenda. Anything that helps or anything that works is great. And I don't think anybody should feel secure in their role, as we've already seen, whether it be, Holiday being sat down the stretch for Peyton Pritchard because that's the hotter and they liked what they saw from him later, or if they don't like the defense that they're getting from these guys and they're trying to protect the lead and they say, you go, get out there and do your thing. I'm fine for that. I'm fine with that. Again, we've talked about bench roles before, Bobby, and like what they do. And I quibble about this over this all the time, where everybody can't be a complete player. If they were, they'd be making $30 million a year and starting somewhere. So if you're going to have somebody, I like them to be specialists in some way. Either you have somebody who comes in who's a dead-eye shooter or instant offense, or in this case, a lockdown defensive specialist. That's good. I'd rather somebody with one elite skill set who's pretty average to below average at everything else than somebody who's just meh at everything. And that's a cool thing that Springer brings to the table, which is great. Another cool thing was how happy everybody was for him. You have this of Luke Cornett tackling him, the post-game interview, guys coming by. So there were some good vibes here, which the Celtics need, because
Jason was really excited for him.
Everyone's really excited, and even the wins that they've had have felt like slogs recently. Not, last game notwithstanding. But what happened, Noah? Are you all right?
Yeah, just the lights turned off in here. Let me see if I can.
Okay. While Noah's figuring out our light situation, we will hear from Jaden Springer here.
To hit that three-pointer in overtime, and just in general to be trusted to take those threes.
I mean, that was big, man. Shout out to JT. Saw me to rock in that corner, man. Knocked it down.
What did Harden say to you? It looked like Harden said something to you on that three. What did he say?
He be talking. That's my dog, man. We played together in Philly. He just talking.
Did it feel that much sweeter to hit it in front of him?
For sure.
What's this process been like for you? Like, obviously, you're not getting opportunities for most of this year that you'd like, but just kind of staying prepared and, knowing like a night like this can pop up at any time, really.
I mean, I feel like we train for this every day. Like, we got a good staff. We working out every day, game situations. So I feel like we do as best as we can to prepare us for moments like this and staying ready. So that's what we focus on pretty much every day.
What's it like to start to see your hard work pay off?
It feels great, like you said, we're here every day working. So to be able to see the benefits of the work you put in, it's a great feeling, especially with all my teammates, my guys cheering me on, and it's amazing.
Look, he's on point. He's on message. I'm just there, staying ready. He got the memo, and that's how you answer the questions.
Then next game, we'll go right back to staying ready. That's how it goes a lot of the time. So again, I'm not making it anything extraordinary.
You kind of
here.
are.
I'm not saying
you
he's
kind
gonna.
of are.
No, I'm saying he should stay on the team.
Okay.
Is that too bold?
Why can't it be extraordinary, but also we don't know what it means, It can still be extraordinary. If you
didn't feel that way 4 hours ago, I don't think you should feel that way now. That's all I'm saying. Like, there could be even more in store. There could be nothing in store. I just don't think you can call it. Like, off of the one, as Noah said, he could drop 40. All he did was come in and play defense, which we know he can do. The thing is, the game needed it. He didn't do anything we didn't think he could do. The game needed what he brings tonight, and he brought it, which was great. He was given an opportunity to go out there and do exactly what he's supposed to do, which is play your ass off on defense and bother the hell out of the ball carriers and get in people's faces and make life difficult, which we know he can do. There just hasn't been enough opportunity for him, and I don't know that there necessarily will be.
No, there won't be a ton. But again, there doesn't need to be opportunity to keep him on the team. You keep him there as a specialist. You keep him as a low contract into the future, which you'll be able to retain him on in the free agency. What he didn't do here that the chat thinks he did is fool anyone into giving up a huge package for him at the deadline. If you're trading him, you are either moving him into a team, and there's only one team with salary cap space to take his contract on and just use his expiring money at the deadline, or you're sending picks with him to get off the money. So you're not moving him for anything here. And if you remember, when they got him from Philly, all they did was just take him on. Philly wanted to get rid of the money, and the Celtics just took him on. And there might have been some picks changing hands there that didn't really mean much, but you're not getting anything for him, so you might as well keep him, because I don't think they need 2 roster spots at the deadline here. And honestly, the more I think about it, John, they don't need a ton. I think they have what they need.
You're okay now? You feel okay? You feel okay with this team?
I felt like they needed a wing. But again, is he going to play? Is that wing going to play? Is he even going to have a role? Because again, you think back to Tillman last year, and it was like, oh, here's a guy that can play for you. And it really didn't end up being the case. So, again, they should be looking. If there's a guy out there that they can get that doesn't cost much of anything, you have a roster spot, you might as well fill it. But I don't think they need a ton here.
I don't know whether they need a ton. I just think everybody on their current team needs to play better. That's the key.
Definitely.
That's the key to success.
And so we should get into the crunch
what
time
you bring
stuff
in here. Yeah, not what you bring in here. So there's more about this game we want to talk about. There's also the ongoing issue of Jaylen Brown and what's going on in his mind and what's going on with his body. He was a little banged up after the game, and now talking about multiple rolls of his ankles and getting treatment and lots of different things here, which isn't great. But we'll get into Jaylen a little bit, because I think he continues to having story on this team right now.